All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages. My name is Mike Frazier, MD, and I help high achieving men save their marriage. So today is the last day in 2021. You'll be able to get the Strong Man system for the $2,500 plus. You're going to get 3 months of support, 90 days support included. Last chance of 2021 to do that. So I wanted to just talk about today what the Strong Man system can do for you. Okay. So again, just as a review, if you do sign up today, again, today's the last chance for $2,500. You'll get lifetime access to the 30-day online course. It's really nice. I put it into a cool learning management system and software now, so you can go through it. There's an app you can use on your phone. It's really great. You're also going to get my help with your apology letter. So we'll go through it, make sure it's, we remove any landmines and it goes well for you. You're going to get 90 days of access to my handpicked mentors that can help you through the program. 90 days of access to unlimited Q&A with me. So any question that comes up through those 90 days, I want to help you with it. You're also going to get 90 days of access to office hours where we'll be able to talk one-on-one and discuss what's going on and help you out with that. Now, if you do decide to wait, you can, but you're going to pay $1,500 for those bonuses later. So, you'll get those included for the $2,500 versus if you wait, it's going to cost you $4,000 to do the same thing. So when men come in and join the strongman system, usually they come in hoping to do a few things. So they want to save their marriage from divorce or separation. They want to improve their sex life. They want to restore trust after infidelity or other types of dishonesty. Maybe that was like an alcohol problem or, just overall lying, gambling sometimes. Now, if you have some of those issues, you do need to have those treated, be in a 12-step program, be sober for a while before the program is really going to help that much. Because if you're still struggling a lot with those, now you're going to learn skills that will help you, but you want to be also involved in something that will, help you directly with those things. Men also come in wanting to decide what to do about their wife's infidelity, whether that's emotional or sexual infidelity. For the most part, they want to win their wife back and show their wife that they can change. I got an email from somebody this week, like, how am I supposed to show my wife I can change, if I don't have much interaction with her? Again, just kind of a misunderstanding of what the strongman system is about. In other words, they kind of think, okay, I'm going to do this and it's going to help my wife change her mind. It's going to help her, not want to divorce me. It's going to, help her trust me more. So look, it 100% that does happen when you learn what you learn and you apply it in the strongman system. Okay. You are more attractive to your wife, right? You can save your marriage. It doesn't happen every time, but it does happen. It just doesn't happen quite in the way that you might think. Okay. So it doesn't just I don't teach you some tricks that makes your wife, kind of change her mind or kind of shows her whatever she needs to see so that she can, want to be with you. Okay. What the strongman system actually does is something different. And this is what I love about it. This is what I love working with guys to do through the program. These are some of my quotes, some of my favorite quotes from the graduates that really capture what the strongman system is about. One of our guys says, "It brought me closer to the Lord." So I'm a Christian guy, and to me, the principles of the strongman system and what makes a good man and a good husband and a good father is really becoming a more Christ-like person. Someone that embodies those characteristics like honesty, integrity, kindness, goodness, okay, love, right? If we can really embody those characteristics, we become a more Christian person. That's attractive, and that's a good man and a good husband and a good father. Okay. Another quote, I love this one. "I'm the best version of myself that has ever walked the earth." That's from Artie. Awesome, right? That's what this is about. It's about stepping into who you can really be as a man. "It was a total revamp of my heart and brain." I love that one because it really is. It helps you get into what's going on in your mind, what's going on with your emotions, and really get good control over that and good insight into how your thoughts are creating those emotions. And then once those emotions come up, what you can do with them. I finally realized what I can control, right? I stopped trying to control my wife, and I realized like I couldn't do that. I gave up on doing that, and I started to realize I could control myself. A lot of times it feels powerless when you're in this situation. I want to save my marriage. I want to save my marriage. What do I do? I just don't know what to do. So some of my clients will say that. Just tell me what to do. I just need to know what to do. Okay. The problem with that is when you're so focused on, this outcome of changing your wife's mind or of having her come back or not divorce you, you really don't know quite what to do, because unfortunately we can't change another person's mind. Like, we can't control them. We can't control what they think or believe, right? We can control what we think and what we believe and how we behave. So one of the big shifts we try to help guys make is realize that, the goal isn't necessarily to win your wife back. It's to become a stronger, more attractive man, right? And you have total control over that. And then you stop asking this question, oh, what do I do? You're not so anxious, right? Because you're like, no, this is the kind of man I want to be, and I'm going to work towards that. And if my wife's attracted to that, great. If she's not, that's hard, but I still feel good because I'm becoming who I want to be. Notice the difference in that approach, right? One feels strong and in control, one feels anxious and needy and out of control. Okay. And which emotional state's more attractive? Okay. The strong, confident, in control is much more attractive to your wife. Okay? Again, it's a paradox because you'd think my main goal should be changing my wife's mind because she wants to leave. But the more you focus on that, the more anxious and needy you are, the more it drives her away, right? You got to realize what you can control, which is you, and you becoming and stepping into the type of man that you really can be and want to be. Okay. Another guy said, I saw that I was really not a good choice. Like, I finally realized that. A lot of guys will come in, they'll say, I just don't get it. Like, why doesn't my wife want to have sex with me? Or, look, I messed up a little bit, but overall I've been good. I don't get it. Why does she want to leave? Okay. What we help you see in the strongman system is that, oh, wait a second, like, I do have some major issues. If you listen to some of the other trainings, like, if you're a car, like, you have a bunch of problems, like your engine doesn't work, or like you got rust all over it. You want your wife to have a good car, so you're going to become that good car, right? Instead of like, no, look, yeah, I have some rust, but just jump in, right? I'm still, I get good gas mileage or whatever, right? No, we want to realize, yeah, I've got some issues and I'm going to work on those. Okay, it gave me a practical way to control my thoughts and emotions. Okay, a lot of times, if maybe you've been in therapy before, you don't really get sometimes very practical ways to be in control of those thoughts and emotions, right? With the strongman system, you get very practical tools. We're going to work through them. Yeah, I really like it. I want the people that sign up for the program to come in and work with me, at least once, like, go through one of these models and really understand how it works. Okay. Or at least watch the videos, right? And see other people go through it so you get a good sense of how it works. Okay. Another guy said, I'm in the best shape I've ever been. Right. So we do some physical stuff too, because, my training, I went to medical school, I'm a physician, and your body and brain, they really work together. So if you're taking care of your body, you're getting healthier. Okay. That helps your thoughts and emotions as well. Okay. It all works together. So we approach all of it: body, mind, heart, and spirit. Okay. The other thing too, you have to realize is it's not so much a specific diet program that makes people, or exercise program that gets people in good shape. It's the ability to control your thoughts and emotions enough to go and do that even when you don't feel like it, right? Like, that's the hard part. It's not, oh, should I do like this diet or that diet? It doesn't really matter. It's having the emotional strength and control to stick to your diet or to stick to your exercise routine even when you don't feel like it. And that's what the strongman system builds into, is that strength. Okay, so it goes across all areas. Okay, another guy, I feel confident and in control. Okay, when you feel that, like, you've already won. Okay, because you are in a great emotional state. Just so happens that's also very attractive to your wife. Or another one, I love this one. My wife and I talked, and I finally really understood where she was coming from. Guys, this one's huge. A lot of times, again, when we're so stuck in how do I change your mind? How do I change your mind? What we don't do is take the time to actually understand her mind, right? Like understand where she's at, which is a great skill. Okay. I feel free. I feel powerful. Love that. Just as I've been working with guys the past couple of days here, just seeing the shift in how they feel just within the session, right? Where they can go from feeling anxious and overwhelmed to feeling really strong and confident just based on the tools that we use. Now, what they have to do from there is keep practicing that thought, right? And that's what you have to do. You keep those thoughts in mind. You keep practicing these things. We have our time together, but you have a lot more time when we're not together. And so you have to take the time to practice those things. It's like I took piano lessons as a kid, and if I went to the piano lesson but didn't practice anything all week, when I came back next week, I really wasn't much better, right? So the same thing applies here. You can come, we can work together, but the way you get better is by practicing these things when we're not together. So these are quotes from guys that have been through the program. Again, like this is why I do it. I love it. I love when guys get these kind of results where they feel great, where they feel in control, where they feel closer to God, where they feel like they're being the type of man that they really want to be. That's what it's about. So these are internal changes, right? At its very core, the strongman system, it's about helping you build up your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual strength. Okay. It helps you get into the best shape of your life, like we talked about, physically as well as in all these other areas. Okay. It helps you feel confident in who you are. And the way it does that, right, is it helps you identify who you want to be, like what your values are, and then start living more true to those. Okay. You're going to outline, here's who I want to be as a man, and then really be working towards that. Okay. You also become trustworthy. Okay. You start being a man of your word. That feels great because you're in integrity. Okay. So when you are living in line with your values, when you are being honest, you just feel solid. You're spiritually strong. You know who you are. That feels great. You're trustworthy. And then your wife can choose to trust you or not, but it doesn't really matter because now you are trustworthy. You are a man who keeps his promises. Okay. You know what you want to be. When you do mess up, you apologize, right? And you do it in the right way. One of the guys I was working with the other day, as high achieving guys, we like to sometimes say, "Hey, sorry about that, but," right? So it's like, "Hey, sorry I didn't listen to you, but actually I was right," right? So the but kind of like reverses the "I'm sorry." Um, but anyway, that's one of the big things we work on too, is just owning your mistakes, because we're all going to make mistakes sometimes. But when you live true to your word, and when you don't, you apologize and you get back on track. That's strong. That feels great, and it's attractive. Okay, you become trustworthy. Again, internally, it gives you clear tools to identify and then change the thoughts that are driving your emotions. This is huge, and this is really kind of the essentials of like how to change your life, is to change how you're thinking, and then to just be really conscious about that. So remember, women, they're attracted or repelled by your overall emotional state. And what drives that emotional state? Some people will say, well, it's just the situation, right? My job or my wife, she doesn't listen. We don't have sex, right? They think, well, what's going to change it is when my wife does decide we're going to be together, or when we do start having sex more. They think if the situation changes, everything else is going to change. But and I've seen this in myself and in so many people, sometimes the situation does change and nothing else changes. The reason that is the situations, they're neutral. It's the stories and the things that we tell ourselves about what's happening, right? So like guys will come in and their wife will, like, they'll be separated, and then within a few weeks they're moved back in together, and but the guy's still like, oh, like nothing's different, nothing's changed, we're still the same. And I have to pull back and be like, whoa, hold on a second, like your wife just moved back in, like you were separated. Like, why are you interpreting that as a bad thing or not as good enough, right? It's another thing, like a lot of us as high achieving guys, we have that not good enough kind of built into us. And that's why we want to achieve, to kind of prove ourselves. So we look hard at that and realize like we're good enough as we are, and we can get better. It's both, right? So again, when you can control those thoughts and look at them and realize, I'm in that negative emotional state, you can start to shift it. Okay. So then you become You feel strong, you feel confident, okay? And that's attractive versus feeling angry and resentful and desperate, which is all unattractive. Again, the situation doesn't cause that. It's the way you're thinking about the situation and what you believe about the situation. And you have total control over that, which is great. You have actually pretty limited control over um, the situations in your life, what other people do, but you have total control over how you interpret it and what you do about it. Okay. So if you're consistently feeling loving, strong, and confident, again, that's what we teach you how to do, how to manage your thoughts. So you are consistently in that state of feeling loving, strong, and confident. You feel great. Okay. So you've won already. You're feeling good. And it so happens that when you're in that state, you're much more attractive to your wife. Okay. So, again, I love seeing how quick this can shift when we're working with guys, and you'll see some of the examples in the program. And if you sign up for office hours, we'll be able to work through this. And um, just the changes can happen so fast because it's just the speed of thought is how fast your emotions can change. The other thing too is sometimes those emotions just pop up and we don't have time to kind of sit down and think about, like, oh, what was I thinking in that time? Like right in the moment, sometimes it's hard. So we learn the tools to just relax, allow our emotions, do some breathing, get through them. So we're not acting in a way that is very negative. Okay. It's fine to feel angry, but when you start, yelling or screaming, or you're kind of passive aggressive about things, that's not attractive. It's fine to feel angry. We learn how to name it, feel it in our bodies, deal with it appropriately. Okay. That's what we do. So again, those are internal changes. Spiritually, you're strong. You know what you want out of your life. You're working towards it. Mentally, you're strong. You know how to manage your thoughts. Emotionally, you're strong. You know how to manage your emotions. Physically, you're strong. You're building up that strength, right? So that's all internal. But the next step is interpersonal changes. Because your wife, right, she's going to sense that. She's going to sense that you feel different. She's going to sense that you're, in integrity more, that you're not lashing out as much, right? So once you are more confident in yourself, your ability to manage your thoughts and emotions, it's time to improve your interpersonal skills. So what we do in the program is we spend a lot of time looking at the negative patterns you've created in your marriage and then what you can do to change them. So some of the more common ones that we work on, right, are the mosquito cycle. It's a big one. Basically what that is you do too much for your wife to be nice. So you kind of, you're let's say you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're spending lots of money that you really don't want to spend. Basically you're trying to make sure your wife wins even though you're losing, right? You're doing more than you feel is fair. Okay. Because you're hoping that in return, it's going to be your turn at some point. She's going to say, oh, thank you so much. She's going to give you attention, appreciation, or affection or sex, right? So you're doing all this stuff and then she doesn't give you attention, appreciation, or sex, right? And then you get resentful, right? You get mad and then you blow up, right? You stop doing anything, you get madder. I do all this for you. Why can't you do anything of it for me, right? Then she's like, I'm sorry. Maybe, or maybe she's like, well, screw you, depending on where your marriage is at. But, it just doesn't work. Maybe for a little while she starts giving you attention again, but then you're like, hey, sorry, sorry, I got mad. And then you go back into doing too much, doing more than your fair share, and then resenting it. And then you blow up again. It's just a cycle that guys get into. So we learn how to work our way out of that, realize our side of it, which is really about just not like finding stuff that's a win for both of you instead of feeling like you're losing. Right. Another big one that guys fall into, high achieving guys, is this one up, right? Not listening to your wife. Okay. Frequently trying to prove you're right and she's wrong. Okay. Guys, as high achieving guys, typically are pretty intelligent. We're, used to looking at evidence and proving our point. But when we go into that mindset with our wife, it doesn't really work very well. Okay. We want to try to understand her instead. Another big one is chasing, right? Trying to make your wife talk about issues even when she doesn't want to. Because you're like, well, this is the only way things are going to get solved. But look, when we chase, like it's like a biological response, like a natural response. We run away from things that are chasing us. So the more you chase your wife, the more she's going to run away. So we learn, what to do instead. Again, these are common behaviors for high achieving, goal oriented men. We want something, we feel like, okay, this is a way that we can get it. Okay. So what we do in the program is we find your specific negative patterns and see what you can do to change them. Okay. What I like to do is just map it out, right? We say, okay, you do this, she does this, and then this happens. Okay. So like what part of that do you have control over? Her part? Not really, right? Your part. So here's what you usually do. Now what's something different we can do there? It's helpful to see it sometimes, to visualize it. So now you have internal trust, right? You believe in yourself. You know how to manage your thoughts, emotions. You're much better at communication, right? You've caught those negative patterns. So now you can move on to intimacy. So we learn about creating fun, flirting, and passion in your marriage, bringing that back. Okay. That's what separates a marriage from any other relationship, right? Is this flirting and sexual connection between the two of you, right? So we learn how to bring that back. Okay. We also learn how to get to win-win agreements. Again, the big thing is guys will often do the mosquito cycle where you're basically losing and letting her win and hoping like at some point that will pay off and then it'll be your turn to win. Okay. And then they'll switch into like win lose. Well, it's been your turn long enough. So, now it's my turn. Now I'm going to get mad, or now I'm not going to pay for that or whatever. So we get to those win-win agreements with money, sex, in-laws, parenting, religion, other difficult issues. We learn how to do that. Now, this also translates to relationships with kids, with coworkers, with clients, right? You want to get to agreements and things that really are a win for both of you. Like for me, the strongman system, it's a win-win. I enjoy working with these guys. They enjoy the benefits that they're getting. Okay, that's a win-win. For them, it's worth at least $2,500 to learn those skills. Okay, like it's a win-win. So again, a lot of times men, they're going to go for lose-win, and especially that can happen after their own infidelity. So like if you were the one that had an affair, you can be like, okay, like I really messed up, so now I need to basically do everything my wife wants, and hopefully she'll change her mind. So anything she says, you do it, right? You're living separated, you're taking care of everything, you're paying for everything, while she's kind of, maybe not working and just kind of doing whatever she wants, and you're funding that. But she's not really showing much as far as like her engagement with you. Like she won't go to therapy with you, or if she does, she's not really paying attention, or you've been separated for a long time and you're not really moving towards moving back in together. Okay. So that works for a while, but in the long term, it just doesn't, because again, it's the same cycle. It's that mosquito cycle, because you're going for lose. Like I'll lose so you can win, right? And then hopefully at some point we can both win. You have to create a whole new dynamic in your relationship. Like you went for win lose. Like if you were unfaithful, yeah, you won and your wife lost for sure, right? Or if you're gambling or drinking or lying to her a bunch, yeah, you were winning and you were making her lose. And so it's natural to say, okay, well now she needs to win and I need to lose to balance things out. And it just doesn't work long term. Like you need to, the new dynamic needs to be, no, like I'm very sorry that I did that to you, and for our relationship to work long term, things need to work for both of us. Like if we're separated, that's okay, but we need to understand if we're moving somewhere with this, or I'm paying for this right now, but that really doesn't work for me. And then your wife will be like, well, you did this to me and you owe it to me, and you can be like, I did mess up for sure, but if we want a relationship that's going to work, right, it needs to work for both of us. Okay, that's a stronger stance and it's hard to do, but this is part of intimacy, right? And you've got to get to win-win. And the other thing is, like, it needs to be win-win or no deal. You have to be willing to walk away, and that's what's hard for most guys to get to. And that's why this is kind of like the last step, is this intimacy step. Like, you got to build your strength, you got to look at your interpersonal skills, you got to see all the areas where you have really had issues and you need to own those and be working on them. And then you can start saying, okay, like now let's get to agreements that work for both of us, or let's just walk away and end this relationship, because you can't lose all the time and neither can I, right? We want to both feel like we're winning. And if we can't both feel like we're winning, then yeah, maybe we do need to end things. And that's hard. And again, you can't just come out and say that, right? First, you have to look at all of the areas where you really are causing issues. Because like if you go to like some therapists, or they'll just say, no, like you need to get what you want in life, and just you got to live your best life, and all of this. But what they don't do is help you see like how you are screwing things up, and like how you have patterns that are driving people away, and how you are not controlling your emotions appropriately, right? So like you've got to build those skills up first. Like you need to become a good choice first before you come in and you start saying, okay, well now like you need to shape up, you need to do this different. No, like you need to come in and see, wow, like I messed up and here's what I need to change. And then you can come in and appropriately ask for someone to also, for your wife to also kind of step into that same strength, right? You can't tell her to manage her own emotions until you can manage your own emotions, right? You can't tell her to have sex with you more until you understand how you've been extremely unattractive, right? Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And this does come last, and it is at the same time very important, because you can do all this work, right? But if you still feel like you're losing all the time, right? Like that's not going to work, right? You do the work, you become a better, stronger man, you get great at communication, you're doing all these things, but your wife just won't do anything. Yeah, now it's time to go for either a win-win or a no deal. Okay, and that's hard but important. Okay, so you learn how to make requests for what you want. Here's what I'd like to see from you, right? Here's what I'm working on, and I definitely have to work on that. Here's what I'd like to see from you. Okay, if you don't do that, then here's what I'm going to do. That's what a boundary is. So you learn how to make an appropriate request. Here's what I'd like to see from you. And then you set a boundary. Here's what I'll do if that request is not granted, right? I'll leave, I'll divorce you, I'll separate, whatever it is, okay? And again, it has to be done in this order. You can't just walk in and say, here's what you have to do for us to be together. No, because she's going to say, fine, let's get divorced, because you haven't taken the time to figure out your role in all this. You haven't built up that spiritual, mental, emotional, and sexual strength. You haven't seen how your communication patterns are off. You haven't seen how you need to, be much better at understanding. You haven't seen how you have created these negative patterns and owned your side of it, right? You got to do that first. Then you can come in and say, okay, like here's what I'm working on. And now I need you to work on this for a relationship to really work long term. Okay. And that's scary. This is the scary part, because when you say that, when you'll only go for win-win, no deal is a possibility. If no deal is not a possibility, you're going to be willing to lose all the time, right? And say, no, fine. Yeah, you don't want to, you don't want to move back into it. That's fine. Yeah, I'll still pay for everything. That's fine. And you're just kind of like waiting, but getting more and more resentful at the same time. Okay, and that doesn't work long term. So that's basically the strongman system and what it can do for you. Okay, so it is a way to revamp your heart and brain. I really like that the way of explaining it, to help you become the best version of yourself, become closer to the Lord if you're a Christian guy, just become a better man, right? So it's really in these three stages. First is trust, right? Confidence in yourself and integrity, the ability to manage your own thoughts and emotions. Okay, once you have that, like you are solid. You're ahead of most guys and really a lot of women when you can do that. Okay. And again, guys, you attract someone that's about the same level as you are in these areas. So when you're living in integrity, when you can manage your own thoughts and emotions, you're only going to want to be with someone that can also do the same. Because if you can manage your own thoughts and emotions and the other person cannot, you're not really going to want to be around that person. Okay. It's not fun. So you build yours up, right? And again, don't just think, well, I'm so much better than my wife at this, because you're not. We match with someone that's about our same level, okay, close to our same level. Now, she may have pulled ahead of you a little bit, right? And that's why she's not as attracted to you now. So your job is to, build up your strength and skills in these areas. So again, that's trust is first. So living in integrity with your values, apologizing when you do mess up, managing your own thoughts and emotions well. Okay, you can do that. Awesome. You've got a great foundation. Also, the physical part too. So then it's communication. That's understanding her and expressing yourself at deep levels. What this creates for you is the ability to really be best friends, right? You understand each other at a deep level. You share hopes, dreams, and fears. You understand each other at that great level. Then it's about intimacy, getting to that win-win or no deal, and then bringing fun, flirting, and passion back to your marriage, having a great sex life again, okay? But it goes in this order, okay? So the strongman system is $2,500 to learn those skills, right? To figure out how to get that trust, communication, and intimacy back into your marriage, to feel great about who you are, to know exactly how to manage these relationships, right? We're talking about marriage, but these principles apply, besides the sex part, the other principles apply to in your relationship. If you can be trustworthy, if you can communicate well, understand people, get to win-win agreements, you're awesome. You're doing great in your life. And then you add on top of that with your wife this element of deep best friends and passionate lovers. Guys, you've got an amazing life. So it's $2,500 to learn those skills through me, have me help you. So if that's worth it to you, great. Let's do it. Head over to mikefraziermd.com. Let's get to work. I'm not a fit for everybody, but who I am very good at helping is high achieving guys who are going to get in and work hard. And yeah, that's mainly who I work with, and want to have a good time doing it, right? Also, that want to get in and really, learn practical tools and skills versus just kind of like talking about things. That's who I'm for. You want to work hard. You want to have very practical things. You want to work on them. You want to get feedback on it. That's who I work with. That's who I'm good at helping. So $2,500 will learn those skills. And then today, again, it ends today. If you're listening to this later, you missed it. So sorry about that. Next time will be probably the beginning of the year. So you get $2,500 will get you 90 days of support from me. If you wait, it's going to be $1,500 to get those 90 days of support. If you just want to do like 1 month, it's $500 a month. So guys, I love doing this work, and I would love to be able to help you become this guy, right? The mission of the strongman system and kind of what we're doing here is this, right? It's to help us as men to become strong and loving leaders of our homes, examples of real manhood to ourselves, our families, and the world. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of great examples of manhood out in the world. Our politicians, our people on movies and TV and stuff like that. I mean, there are exceptions. There are some good, but overall, like, are there good guys who live according to the kind of values we want to embody ourselves and we want our kids to? Not a lot. So the job of the strongman system, what we're trying to do is show ourselves in the world what a real man is, strong in body, mind, heart, and spirit, man of integrity, right? The reason we do this is to create a better world through stronger families, and for my Christian brothers, a world that's more prepared for the second coming of Jesus Christ. So that's the mission. That's what we're doing. So if that resonates with you and you want to learn these skills to become that man, become part of this, have the skills to create amazing relationships with yourself and with other people for the rest of your life. And if that's worth $2,500 or ideally more to you, if that's worth more to you, then visit mikefraziermd.com and let's get to work. Love to see you there. Head over again, mikefraziermd.com, and I will see you there. All right, stay strong, men. We'll see you next episode.